Welcome to the CWC Podcast with your
All
host,
right, welcome
David
back
Selby,
to the
Justin
CWC
Reed,
Podcast. It's
and
your home
Andy
for the
Horton.
latest news, rumors, and updates in Chuckwagon racing. I'm your host, David Selby, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Andy Horton and Savannah Smith. We are past Thanksgiving. We're past Black Friday and Cyber Monday and all those things, and we're setting sail for Christmas. On today's show, we're going to share our holiday show lineup, and we're going to update you on what's ahead. And we have special guest Riley Braaten. He is from the EPCCA. That's that Eastern Professional Chariot and Chuckwagon Racing Association in Canada. So we're really excited to start having some guests like this on the show so we can educate our audience and kind of cross-pollinate those audiences even more. It's all coming up on the CWC Podcast. So what's up, guys? How's it going?
Not bad. I think I want to hear you say EPCCA again, but 5 times fast and full.
EPCCA.
No, the full words.
The jingle. Eastern Professional Chariot and Chuckwagon Association.
That's a
I did throw
twister.
racing in there. I threw racing in there, which isn't actually, they don't have that in their acronym. So, but they do have, a nice long acronym. And just like the ACWRA, we, in the Chuckwagon racing world, it's what we do. So let's see. We just got past a big weekend. Everybody had Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. What did you guys? What did your weekend entail? Did you end up doing anything with the Black Friday, Cyber Monday thing? Did you buy anything? Were you really close to buying anything?
Not really, man. I mean, I was just kind of put out by the so-called deals, because they just weren't. Like you can, anyone who's followed prices on certain things over any length of time, especially if it's something that you're very familiar with, like in my case, me being the camera and video nerd that I am, I was looking at stuff that I thought, man, this might be a good time to, stock up on flash memory or, like get some hard drives, get something, that I'm definitely going to get at some point, or, maybe even look at a camera deal or a lens deal or something. They just weren't there. Like right. They said they were like, you get the emails like every day. I was actually getting angry and just like unsubscribing from everyone's emails right. Because it was just the same. And there was nothing good, and even like you go to like the big box stores and you see the doorbuster deal, the TVs and stuff sitting everywhere. They really weren't that good of a deal. I mean, they didn't look that way to me anyway. What did you guys find?
No, it's, I got hit by, I was starting to get like 3 a day from Dollar Shave Club. So, I finally just unsubscribed from that. I was like, this is just filling up my inbox at this point.
Yeah.
Like it's not even doing me any good. I'm pretty well set on that. Thanks, guys. All I need is razors so I can shave my head and my neck, and that's all I do. Thank you. It was, it was kind of the same for me. I saw a couple of things that I looked a little closer, and I was just like, that's just, like I'm not going to buy a TV. Like, if I wanted to spend $300 or $400 on a TV, I probably would do that anytime during the year. And it's like, and it's not so much. It's that I don't want to spend $300 or $400 on a TV anyways right now. So, I don't know. But also that whole market, like I'm electronics, right? So I love electronics. I know, Andy, you're kind of like that too, but like you just look at those things and the market has become so saturated these last several years with all these things that I actually think that just like normal competition has prevented Black Friday and this whole like sale season from really going that much tighter on margins unless people just want to lose money. So
right.
It's too common anymore. All those like novel electronic things. It's like you have to go really digging. Like I did see some kind of fun gadgets that like when I really went and started digging, saw some kind of interesting stuff. But like, it was just, but even then it wasn't about the sale. It was just that I actually was doing the looking for once and doing the research for stuff that I don't already have or need. But Yeah. What about you, Savannah? She's like, no, I bought everything I saw.
No. So my pocketbook will not allow me to look at the fun novelty things or the camera gear that I so desperately would love to continue investing in. But I did get a pair of jeans and a sweater to wear to Thanksgiving. And Sarah, my adopted sister, and I can't give too much details because it's a Christmas gift, but we found a good deal on something a loved one has been wanting for a while. So we did get that and we're pretty excited. And that was actually a good deal. Like it was over half off. We were very, very excited for the discount, what it was, and that it was what this person wanted.
Yeah, so I guess I have to have a correction there, because there was like an early Black Friday deal that I took advantage of from Origin, and I bought like a couple pairs of jeans and some shirts.
Yeah, those like necessary items, because
yeah,
all those nice jeans that were, really nice going into the Chuckwagon season, not so nice now. So we had to re-up.
Well, they're probably all wet and muddy. That's what they are. Because that's what every race was.
Yeah.
Well, I have a washer, guys, but they're not as nice and crisp as they used to be, if you know what I mean. No starch can fix this.
I have to mention, like, on that, like, fun segue here. So Black Friday, we've got our deal going on where it's $59 for the year. That is good until the end of today, when everybody sees this, Thursday, December 4th, you can get your annual subscription for $59. Well, I put a video together that basically took a quick feature from each of the tracks that we went to this last year.
I want to know if the same thing happened to you that happened to me. I want to see where this goes.
I was just going to say, whenever I looked at all of those different clips, it was like every single one of them almost, there was like mud all over the track. It was just like everything was rainy and muddy in 2025. And it's funny because it wasn't that way the year before. And, the crowds were good sized and stuff like that, which is what you always want to see from a good aerial shot. But I really like all the aerial footage, but it was still just like, man, it just freaking rained at every one of those races.
Yeah. So what I was going to say, what happened to me is you put that out and then I shared it. And then I was getting contacted by people that were confused and thought that was some kind of deal on tickets to a certain race.
You're feeling like, yes, buy it.
And I couldn't say that. I had to go, no, that's to subscribe to our channel.
Oh, come on, Andy. You got to say, all your races. Yeah, you can go all the races with that.
So
just go to them.
So that happened.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's the nudge. We got to find some kind of deal that we can figure out a way to get them into all the races. I don't know.
I just got to say, that was the smoothest transition into a little ad plug that I think I've ever witnessed on our show. Very nice.
This ad, I mean, this ad is my life, okay? This is my life, all right? We're selling it for $59. It's less than $5 a month on the year. Go get it, chuckwagonchannel.com. And if you need any help, like, I could name drop a couple of people that did contact me because they needed a little bit of help over the last several days. No big deal. I'm glad to help you out. I'm going to get you set up. So
he is our admin and our customer service representative.
That's what I do. I stay on the phone. Also, different website, similar name, chuckwagonraces.com, home of the National Championship Chuckwagon Races. Actively right now, Savannah and I have been working on the DVD, the very last DVD that we'll ever do for the National Championships. Please. And that's the plan. And it's the end of an era. So make sure you go and you order that through the OAFs. And we are getting ready to start doing the actual physical production on those. So if you guys don't go and order them, there may not be any, because the order is a little smaller this year than what you'd think. They're not trying to have a whole bunch of leftovers. They're trying to basically close the door on this chapter, and then we're moving forward with all digital. So go over and get your DVD ordered for the 40th anniversary of the National Championship Chuckwagon Races. All right, well, let's keep moving here. So our shows that are coming up, it is the holiday season, And we like to take advantage of that here on the Chuckwagon Channel. So next week, we are going to have Whiskey Ridge Ranch. We'll have them back. I think this is the third year in a row that we've done this with these guys, give or take a week or two where we had it. But December 11th, we'll have the Whiskey Ridge Ranch Holiday Show, Todd and Cindy Wheeler with Carl Schultz and Marty Moreno. Who knows what he'll be dressed up as, how he'll be serving his beverages.
Right.
We don't really know, but we're excited. You don't want to miss it. I know that they always have something good. What's coming up the following week?
That is going to be the Christmas and Clinton show. So that'll be December 18th, our annual trip to Clinton to drop off DVDs. It's actually going to happen Sunday the 14th. Is that right?
Yeah, we'll be there on the 14th.
Right. So
we'll record it on the 14th.
Everybody start watching their mailboxes that week. The show is going to be hosted at Hogs and Heifer Sports Bar in Clinton, Arkansas. Thanks to Dave and Tanya Hart for hosting us there. There's going to be holiday cocktails, special guests. Who knows what's going to happen at Hogs and Heifers?
Anything could happen. And these are Christmas shows, but when we get the week of Christmas, we are going to be off. We won't have a show on December 25th, which is a Thursday when we normally drop our show on the Chuckwagon Channel. So we'll be off that week, and then we're going to come back around.
Will there be stories about possums being thrown at people?
I
don't know.
If there is a sequel to this, I'm going to be ecstatic. Okay, so the last very exciting holiday we have right on our doorstep is going to be New Year's, which for us is also going to be the CWC Awards show. So it is time to start putting in your nominations. Cutoffs will be Christmas Day, and we will be announcing winners for the following categories. Keep this in mind because, again, we really need your nominations. We will have Spill of the Year, Entertainer of the Year, Venue of the Year, Interview of the Year, Heartwarming Moment of the Year, 2025's Most Improved, Biggest Laugh of the Year, and our Youth Award. We got a lot, so we can't choose them on our own, guys. Help us out.
Yeah,
I mean, we could,
we want them.
but
yeah,
we really don't want to do that.
Our winners will receive plaques at the ACWRA Award. That was actually really neat last year to witness. I'm excited to do that again this year.
Yeah, man, it's going to be fun. I am excited for it. And I think we should do this. I think we should get our guest on here. He's waiting, right?
He is waiting patiently. He's been here 5 minutes at least before we started.
All right. Well, let me give him the quick intro here. We're kicking off the December shows with a guest who's absolute royalty in the EPCCA. He's a third-generation wheelman who does it all. He breeds, trains, and races. He is a two-time North American champion, known for being very tough on the track, but disciplined enough to hold a 3-year penalty-free streak, which is pretty cool. We're going to ask more about the penalties when he comes on. He is a former director of the EPCCA. He races multiple wagons, which I think that means multiple teams, but we'll get some clarity on that. He's also the only man brave enough to move an Alberta girl, which is their westerly neighbor, out of Alberta and into Saskatchewan, which I think that there may be a little bit of rivalry between these different Canadian chuckwagon leagues. So let's welcome Riley Braaten onto the show.
We hear you now.
That's why I married her.
And there's not much of a lag either. Look at
there
that.
We go.
Wonderful.
Wow. It's a good thing we all have our own technology directors in our back pocket.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, welcome, Riley. Is it pronounced Braaten or Braaten?
Braaten.
Braaten. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Well, it's great to see you. I'm David. This is Andy and Savannah. It's nice to have you on the show. And what's your wife's name again?
Cassie.
Cassie. Thank you, Cassie, for making sure that we could. This is all possible because of Cassie. So we had a moment of delay there just from technical difficulties, which it's happened before. You're not the first. Trust me there. But we just threw down a quick intro for you, just kind of mentioning a little bit of some of your accolades. It sounds like you've you've been a busy guy in the sports realm. You've played a little bit of hockey and stuff, but you've got a long history of racing wagons. And so I'm curious to know just a little bit more here. So when did you actually start racing, and how has that kind of evolved for you over the years?
I started racing chariots when I was 14, so back in 2005, and I started wagons in 2009. And yeah, it's taken me quite a few places, actually. I've been down in the States racing, all the way out in Alberta, Manitoba, went quite a ways.
That's awesome. And when you come down, when you race in the United States, what are the tracks that you would race at there? I'm curious.
We went down to Burwell, Nebraska. So we get paid to go put on a show down there. So we race at their big fair, I guess. That's the only one I've raced at down in the States.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And is that more of like a one-off event when you do that?
Yeah, we race. We're kind of like a halftime performance there. So we race, I think it was Thursday you race wagons, then carts, then wagons again. And same with Friday. And then Saturday you race carts, wagons, carts, then in the afternoon, and then again at night.
That's awesome. Good way to promote the sport a little bit, that's for sure, just to kind of introduce it to people. And I've seen that in a couple of different situations. And I know back in the day, there's a guy named James Reed and his dad, Richard Reed. They used to do some of that kind of stuff where they would literally go to these other events and they would just, kind of like you said, a halftime type deal where it was just kind of exposing people to the sport a little bit more. And I know if you come into the United States, if you're not in Arkansas, it is not a very common sport down here, especially kind of in the southern half of the United States. It's very much a northern sport. And then obviously there's a difference in the rules and stuff, which we can kind of get to that a little bit today. But yeah, you said you started when you were 14, which we learned recently that 14 is the earliest that you can begin, and you have to actually pass kind of like a test or an exam, right? That gets you it gets your foot in the door to even race in a youth capacity, right? And then you kind of grow from there.
Yeah. Usually before the season starts, we have a couple different tracks that we go to and let the kids run, and then they gotta be able to pass their, make sure they can do the barrels and they can control their team and get them stopped. And if they pass their test, then they're eligible to start racing with us.
That's cool. What's the minimum age for a driver's license up there?
16.
All right. So you can get like a 2-year advance on your transportation if you can pass that deal.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So in the off season, so is it right to say you're an electrician by trade?
Yeah.
Okay. And you've played some hockey and you play a little bit in the winter. Is it hard to switch gears from those kinds of things to going onto the track, kind of the different paces that you have to go through there? And is it kind of a relief to have that quiet job in maybe the off months?
It probably would be if we had a quiet job, but up here we're busy. There's no downtime the last couple of years. We go hard all year long. It seems like you think in the wintertime would slow down, but it's been busy for the last 2-3 years. So yeah, it's good. It's a good problem to have, I guess. But
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's definitely, if you got to have problems, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to ask the boss for so much time off when you're that busy, but he gives it to me, lets me go racing. So it's good.
Oh, that's cool.
And you guys have a really busy season. So with the EPCCA, you guys actually race 20 events. How important is it to make all of those or almost all of those?
If you want to stay up in the standings quite a bit, it's very important because you miss one show and you can, a 2-day show, you can lose 48 points, and it's tough to get them 48 back, very tough.
We had an interesting situation this year in the Arkansas Association where because of the distance between the tracks and other variables, there's actually been like a one race mulligan that they would allow where one of these races wouldn't count against you. Do you guys have anything like that, or is it the cumulative point total from start to finish all 20 events or however many there will be.
It's straight start to finish. We don't get nothing. There's no, you don't get to scratch this day out because you had a bad day. It's whatever happens, it happens.
Yeah. Well, and crazy enough, this year, this was the first year in a long time, at least, that we had 10 races, and we had so much rain. I mean, you wouldn't believe it. It was a variable at every single event, to the point that it's like, can we even have the event because the rain was that bad at times? And so a couple of events had to be postponed and moved and all these things. It makes it really, really difficult, which I'm sure with a 20 event, just schedule, I'm sure that the variables are insane, but they actually had to have a second mulligan this year, which made things really interesting when you got to the end of the year. But I doubt that we'll see that again, but man, that was a heck of a deal. So I want to ask you, with the move to Saskatchewan, where you grew up in Saskatchewan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then did you go to Alberta for a while, or did you go there and that's where you met your wife? How did that work?
I actually knew about her, like, the racing world, it's big, but it's not that big. So I actually knew her from when we were like 16 or so. And then a couple of years ago, I went up to Ponoka to race, and she was racing in Sedgwick, and you get into all the concerts and everything for free in Ponoka. So me being the charmer I am, I asked her if she wanted to come to the Reclaw concert because I didn't have to pay, right? And she ended up, they got rained out. They happened to get rained out in Sedgwick, and she come across to Ponoka, and then, we started dating since then.
Wow. That's awesome, man. So is there any tension between the Alberta Association that's over there and the, I guess, the EPCCA, which is primarily all really in Saskatchewan for the most part, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's no tension. Like, we all get along pretty good.
And so would you say, I'm kind of learning as I go here, is there kind of a league that you would say is similar in size comparison that's in Alberta and then in Saskatchewan and then in Manitoba as well?
For the number of wagons and carts that we got in our club, I'd say we're one of the bigger ones. Like, Manitoba's got quite a few less, and then Alberta's got a little less, and then there's another club in Alberta, All Pro, and they got quite a few drivers. They got a lot of native drivers in their club, and they're more in northern Alberta.
Okay. What are the main differences between those leagues? So that really, I know that there's an outrider difference between what you guys do, and then when you step up into like the professional, like the high professional tier in the world, it's my memory is lacking right now on these acronyms, but I know that there's two like high tier professional leagues.
Yeah.
So what's the big difference there when they have outriders and then you guys don't?
They actually run full thoroughbreds. So they got the big thoroughbreds, and then they got outriders, and then we just got, most of our horses are thoroughbred pony cross. So they're a little bit smaller, and then like their wagons are like 1,350 pounds. Our wagons only have to be 550 pounds. Like, we're like half the size of them, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. Does that spur any questions on livestock for you, Andy?
I mean, it kind of explains itself. I mean, yeah. I understand what he's saying there. It's definitely, a lot of our stuff is all quarter horses. I mean, not to say that there's not thoroughbreds involved in the classic division, but for the most part, it's quarter horses. And then of course we got the ponies in the smaller divisions, but yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be interesting to see it. So that's for sure.
Yeah. So there's an actual size, limit on your animals for your biggest class in the EPCCA?
Yeah, so we have we call it measuring day every spring. So you could take like a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5-year-old to measuring day, and we've got a laser light that shines across the wall at 58.5 inches tall, and you have to walk your horse across there. And if its wither goes underneath that 58.5 inch tall, then it gets measured in. And if it's 5, it'll get a brand on its shoulder saying it's an adult. But if it's not, it'll get a hoof brand on its right foot. And that gives it permission to run that year. And then the next year, you got to bring it back again till they're 5.
Wow. Okay. That's super interesting. Yeah, man, it's so different.
Yeah.
Well, and you guys have these differences across your different tiers of I mean, so I guess how do you guys classify like your world level Canadian league versus where the EPCCA is?
Uh, I don't. They're no. That's kind of a tough one. I wouldn't say they're like the class. They're just basically be technically one class above us, I guess. Most like the world, the guys that are in the world, pretty much. I don't know. You'd probably say 70% of them started racing ponies, and then just gradually grew up and went to the thoroughbreds.
Yeah. So really, like, it's not just a talent thing. It's like, what stock do you have? So like, if you go out and you get a team that can race at the highest professional tier, that's really where you could step up. It's not even a matter of being fast enough with the stock that you have with what you're racing. It really is that you're getting into almost a different sport at that level.
Yeah, pretty much. Them thoroughbreds are quite a bit. They're the same, but they're quite a bit different, actually. Like I broke quite a few of them for guys around here, and they're just a little bit different. They're a little softer to me. You know, you got to baby them a little bit more. Whereas still got enough quarter horse in them that they're pretty tough horses yet.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
I want to know a little bit more about the individual team dynamics. So, for example, most of our divisions are a 3-man team. We have a cook, a driver, and an outrider. And there's 1 or 2 divisions that is just the cook and the driver, or 2 drivers. But I've heard that there are a handful of divisions in the Canadian racing realm that does not use outriders at all. Or if you do have an outrider, there are specific rules in place as far as what they can be during the race.
Yeah,
that's just all very confusing but fascinating to me.
Yeah, so in ours, with the ponies that we run, we have no outriders. You get you can call them a lead man. We call them holder, so they can help guide your team in the barrels. And then when the horn goes, they get out of there, and then it's all up to you. Where when you jump up a tier up to the thoroughbreds or the world, they have an outrider that holds the lead team, and they got an outrider that throws the stove in the back. But yeah, for us, it's just you and your holder. That's it.
Okay, so it's more like an individual sport.
And you don't have a second passenger, a cook with you? A cook, what we call?
I don't think you'd find enough people crazy enough to get in there.
We do.
Yeah, we can help you out if you guys want to come further south.
Yeah, man, it's so interesting to kind of dissect the differences between the sports or the kind of the classes, or gosh, it's so interesting as we go through this over the next year. I feel like we're all going to adopt each other's vocabulary a little bit more. Because I feel like I'm trying to speak another language when I talk about you guys' version of chuckwagon racing, even though you guys have been doing it quite a bit longer in Canada, especially. Canada, I know, is like 100 plus years old on the chuckwagon racing, while Arkansas wagon racing really started about 40 years ago and had to evolve a lot there in the first handful of years to become more of what it is now. And really for us, you just see all these different divisions. So we have the classic division, 1,000-pound wooden wagon, all wooden wagon, has to be to spec, all of the just the old timey specs, has to meet all these criteria, has to be 1,000 pounds. And then
they even have to have certain items.
And they have to have
a
pot and a pan and a lantern.
That does not come off during the ride. They have to be secure.
Right. Yep. And then really the next tier down on that is it's a 500-pound, again, all wooden wagon. And that's not even a covered wagon. It's just kind of more of a box. And we call that the buckboard. And that's so while that classic division, the 1,000-pound wagons, you can run any size of horse there. There's no limit there. And then when you get into that 500-pound buckboard wagon, it's a 52-inch pony. That's your limit there. And so it's really interesting to hear the differences. You could it sounds like you could just about race your 550-pound wagon in a buckboard division down here if you could scrape 50 pounds off of it. but it's really interesting. Man, it's going to be fun to really navigate this stuff over the next year. Go ahead, Andy. Take it over, man.
So a couple of times before you came on and after, I heard David mention that you had a penalty-free wagon for 3 years. And I'm kind of working through my head. So first of all, what penalties are there that you can get? Because I don't understand that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is I guess, is that something, where does that land in priorities, and how bad does that affect a run for you? So is that like right in the front of your mind, or is this just a byproduct of the fact that you've got a really smooth team and you just happen to do that well?
That's just kind of just basically got lucky. Just
okay.
Smooth. Truthfully, that's all it is. Because I mean, you got 4 horses in the wagon, and all it takes is one of them to go sideways. I mean,
Sure.
You're in a heck of a you're in a big problem in a hurry. But I just that team that I won it with them 3 years, they all 4 like work smooth, like no problems. But I don't really think about it when I go out there, because the more you think about it, the more penalties you're going to take. And we got lots that you can take. Like, if you hit a barrel, it's a 5-second penalty. If you miss a barrel, it's 10 seconds. If your wagon's ahead of the barrel when you start, it's 2 seconds. If your wagon starts, like you start moving, your team moves ahead of the horn, it's 2 seconds. We got lanes that come off. We got white chalk lines that come off the bottom of our barrels, and then you got to come out between your lane line for whatever barrel you're on. If you run over them lane lines, that's 3 seconds penalty. Interferences can go anywhere from 3 to 10 seconds. If you have trouble starting and your holder has to help your team get going, we call that hazing. That's a 2-second penalty. There's a pile of penalties you can take.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
The more I hear about the rules, the more outlaw ours feels. Because we
know.
just have like whatever works. So long as you have all of your items and all of your people in by the time you cross the line, and your outriders where they should be, and you've crossed the barrel without cutting in the track. Like, you can swing wide and you can cross your barrel and someone else's. You can just round 2 if you want to. That's fine, so long as you round the barrel. And you cannot jump the line. That would be considered a no time. We kind of have qualified time or no time at all. Those are our either sides, but you can kind of roll. So if your team is antsy and you want to move, you just set yourself further behind the starting line, so you can kind of have space to roll without jumping that line. Very, very interesting how different and complex this all gets.
Yeah. I guess our penalties are very few, but they're all catastrophic. It's like it's not a penalty, it's a disqualification.
Yeah, you're just,
like if something's not in the wagon, whether that's your extra person being your cook or your bedroll or your stove, if any of that comes out, then it's nothing. Yeah, and if your outrider doesn't cross the line before you, then you don't qualify. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, very all or nothing.
Yeah, but I think it's so fascinating, because I know that you guys have evolved the sport in Canada over 100 years or more, and it's been very much the same for the last like 3-4 decades basically down here, and all of our divisions have adopted a very similar rule profile, as far as like your outrider has to load that stove, your cook has to load the bedroll, and all these things have to happen before you cross that starting line. And we just round 1 barrel and you go. You turn to the left around a barrel and you go around the track. And so if any of that stuff doesn't happen how it's supposed to, or if your outrider's horse doesn't beat your wagon team, you don't have a qualified time. And so it's really interesting. I mean, what I like about all the rules that you guys have as far as penalties go is there's just so many variables, like little things that can stack up. And we have really our oldest and most famous announcer down here is Danny Newland at the national championships, and he always says smooth is always fast. And it's so true in you guys' league that you can really have a huge advantage, it sounds like, if you are smooth and you aren't being penalized throughout a race weekend or a season for that matter. How much that, being perfect, how far that can go. But don't you guys have some awards for like a sportsmanship as well? And doesn't that kind of correspond with these penalties?
Yeah, we got one that's most sportsmanlike driver. It's, you can nominate another driver if you'd like to, and then they vote at the end of the year, or at our annual meeting, they vote on it. And then it's, it's kind of like that guy that, is, good sportsmanship and helps out, and, Yeah, there's that one. And then we got an infield helper and a top holder award, ones like that.
It's awesome.
Nice. So I know we said that you run 2 different wagons. And so what is that like as far as thinking about having to manage that mentally at these races? I know now that I've learned a little more, it's basically, it's not like you have 2 complete teams of people or whatever. It's like, it's you and that wagon and that team of horses. So is there, I don't know, a favorite, or do you have an A team and a B team, or is it just, you never know who's going to come out on top, or how does that work?
No, I got one team that's, I consider the A team. They're not quite a bit better. They're a little bit better barreling, and they're always kind of in the top. And then I got a second team that I throw young ones on there, like a new horse or a 4 or 5-year-old, and give them. That's where I kind of get them started. So then I don't really. Okay. I can stay competitive with my good team, and then the other team is kind of a breaking team almost.
Yeah, that makes sense. Is that common? Like, do a lot of guys do that, or?
No, there might be only be 2 or 3 guys in our club that do it. That got a couple wagons that run like that.
Okay.
I'm guessing it's logistically a lot harder to have that many more horses and another wagon. I'm guessing that means you're traveling with a lot more when you go to all these races.
Yeah, we usually pack 20 or 22 horses every
Wow.
weekend. When all the sisters are actually racing, and this summer there was 2 of them ended up having babies in September, so they didn't race. So then it was just me and my wife and my other sister coming to retirement, and she raced. So we were on 3 carts and 2 wagons at every show. So we use 14 horses a day and then sometimes you go out in the morning and you'll hook up a young one and drive it. So they all get rotated through somewhere, but yeah, there's an awful lot.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a whole different ball game than what we're used to.
Yeah.
Andy, hit that next one.
Okay. So you've taken home some wins from Alberta, including the North American Championship 2 times. So do you notice a difference in driving style or anything the difference between the EPCCA show or a Alberta show, like Red Deer is that whole experience different?
Red Deer's a little bit different because when we race out here, we got a liner, like a 53-foot drive van. So we got panels off both sides. So your horses can walk around and stay loose and drink and eat all day. But when you go to Red Deer, you have to barn them, put them in box stalls. Oh. So it's a little bit different. And then Red Deer is actually we usually run on half-mile tracks out here, and that's a 5/8. So now you go from 60 seconds to 80 seconds. So that's one of the big differences, that you can be a little slower in the barrels and you got more track to catch out there. Or if you're quick in the barrels and you're not quite as fast in the track, guys can catch you. So that's the big difference between ours and, like, we go to Red Deer, Pinoak, and them. They got a little bit longer track, so it kind of levels the playing field out a little bit more.
That's super interesting.
The uninitiated might not think that much extra distance would make that much of a difference, but we see stuff like that all the time, even where we are, where we say amongst ourselves, man, if the track was a little bit longer, that guy would have been in trouble. Or
or you'll see teams come in and snag that win in the very last few yards when you weren't really expecting them to.
Yeah, and you so across these different associations, if you will, or these different leagues, are the general racing criteria for your wagons going to be about the same? 550 pounds, 58-inch pony.
Yeah, it's the same pretty much all the way across the board. I think there's 4 or 5 clubs left in Canada, and they're all the same all the way across. Same wagons, same horses, and yeah.
Gotcha. So it really is just more of a distance thing. It's like regional. It's packing your different racetracks into different regions and kind of grouping it up like that. Can you go and compete unattached at any of these other races? Even though you're racing EPCCA.
Yeah, you can go anywhere. So there's one club in Alberta that they got a different measure, like they measure on their own. So if you want to go race with them, you have to have your horses measured that way. And then Alberta and Manitoba and the East all measure our weight, like we measure together. So I double brand all my horses so I can run anywhere I want.
Nice. That's really cool.
Well, it's nice that the requirements are similar like that, because otherwise it would make it a lot harder for people to do that, to go compete in other associations. So that's cool.
Absolutely.
So you mentioned that you breed and train your own horses. Are there any qualities or mannerisms that you look for early on that kind of tell you how you think this horse is going to perform, or if you feel like it's even going to be a good fit for you and the stock you already have?
You may be getting into trade secrets right there. That's dangerous.
No, all of them break different. Like you can drive one tomorrow that's first drive that it stays right up on the line and it just turns and it don't make a mistake, and you're like, well, that one's going to make a lead horse. And the next one you can drive it 30 times before you decide that it's going to pick up and be a racehorse. And I got lots like my good right leader right now. He was actually a mistake. He was my saddle horse got out, and then she had a colt, so he was a mistake. But you drive him right now, and he's just like a dog. He lays back and he's not aggressive. And turn around, you go in the barrels, and that horn goes, and he's a completely different horse. Like some just take that extra year to mature and grow, and some just click up right off the bat, and they're just all stars.
You know, I feel like that is something that pretty much everybody in our community can relate to.
Yeah, and
with all the differences we have, they'll be like, yes, that I get.
Yeah.
We're the same.
What an advantage to have a second wagon, though, to be able to, put other stock in there and see if they'll run.
Yeah, and see, when we go to the track in the spring, we'll usually go 3 or 4 times before we actually go to the first race, and then you hook different ones together. And in the spring, I'd usually run 4 or 5 different wagons. I'll mix and match horses and blast them out, and then you kind of see if that 4-year-old is going to work up front, and then you know what you got before you actually get into a race. So that's what I like probably most, is experimenting.
Is there any difference in size or anything like that between your 2 lead horses and your back 2?
Some aren't. Mine aren't too much different, but I got some horses that are like 62 inches, and then I got some horses that are 55, 56 inches. And
so you have to average them.
Them little ones can run just as quick as the big ones.
So you mentioned 60. So does that mean you average your heights across your team?
Nope. So like when we measure in the spring, so when you walk them underneath that light at 58.5, you can actually get like a 60 or 61 inch horse if they drop their head right and their withers drop down. You can get bigger horses in if you work them. That's how, there's some 60, 61 inch horses technically in a 58.5 inch measure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's all about posture.
Yeah. Like we spend months measuring ours. So like Thanksgiving in Canada was the 10th or whatever of October. And we started trimming feet and measuring them on the 10th of October. And we don't measure till the 5th of April. So they get like 4 or 5 months of work to measure just so you can get them measured in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just teach them to slouch as much as they can.
Yeah. And they're all different too. Like some got to walk a little faster with their head down and some walk slower with their head like level. And then you just got to figure out what works best for them. And then, go.
So these measuring dates are just like they're just like limbo competitions for horses. They're just going under. They're just trying to get under that pole, man. And it's a laser, you said, so they have to just walk under. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
That is very different than what we're used to.
David, I know you've gotten to film how Clinton measures in, or really any track, over the last several years. Remind us and inform the new Canadian audience how that's different from the way that we measure.
Yeah, and whenever Savannah says Clinton is where we have our national championship for Clinton, Arkansas. That's where really Arkansas chuckwagon racing started 40 years ago. But typically the measuring is done with just like a steel bar that it's just straight across and it's got a leg on each side, and you measure at the withers, and if the horse or pony or mule fits under there, then you're good. And we've seen all the different scenarios. It's like, now you got to go cut down their hooves a little bit more, or you're gonna have to get them to do the splits while they're up there, or do something crazy, because you just see you see those animals that come in and they just knock that pole up, and you're like, you just see the frustration.
That's exactly
like
how we used to measure like that with the bar. And we had the bar was flat on the floor and then come up and then over top of their withers. And then you stand on the bar and push over their withers. So that's when we used to train ours to stretch their front legs out as far as they can to drop down. And then you pop over the withers. But now we kind of changed to the laser light. So it's more level across for like all the horses. Because, some you could give a little bit more push and the next guy wouldn't. So now it's just straight across and it's just luck of the draw whether your horse is going to work or not.
Well, and it's interesting. Did you say they walk through it? They walk across it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, it's so different. And it's lasers, right? So it's futuristic. So that makes it cool too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way we do it is they stand on a flat platform, like they have like a wood platform, and they stand on it, and you set the bar kind of looks like a giant carpenter square, and you set it down, and it either touches the floor or it doesn't. So yeah.
So you mentioned earlier that your family was also heavily involved in different tour shows and just racing in general. What was it like growing up with your family being so involved?
Oh, it was right from when we were little. We always had horses. And in the wintertime, my dad and my uncle drive horses. So usually you weren't allowed to jump on the sleigh because in the wintertime we break with a sleigh. And you weren't allowed to get on there till they had their runaway and they got them stopped. But then, you hook GTs on and then before you know it, you got driving and you just kind of grew up with it. And that's the way it's always been. That's all I've ever known to do, really.
Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like serving as the director of the association?
Yeah, it was good. I was on there for, 3-4 years. I enjoyed it. It's a lot more work behind the scenes than what you think. Like there's a lot more answering questions and discussions and trying to figure out and keep everybody happy. And it's a lot more work than what people think.
I think you need to have a conversation with our board members. You guys would get along great. They would appreciate the empathy. So when you were holding that position, what was the biggest change that you wanted to see for the EPCCA?
Ooh.
I really wanted to work more with the fair boards and try, every track could use a little bit of work. And then I want to try to make the tracks as good and safe and as fast as they can be. That's the one thing I really wanted to do is work with the fair boards and try and, so these shows can keep going for the next 20 or 30 or 40 years, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And after your experience, how has that changed the way that you look at racing, or has it?
Oh yeah, you definitely get a new appreciation for what the fair boards and stuff have to go through, because them too, they got a lot of recognition that isn't passed along the way it should be. They do a pile of work for us to be able to keep racing. So you really get you really feel on their side now,
Man, that's super interesting. We'll get to come up there. I think that what's happening with our dates, we were planning on coming up there originally like in April to visit and kind of see what this was all about, go and see a track or two and do some filming, maybe see some practice runs, just seeing people out there running just preseason. And I think that that's changed to where I think we will be there at the very end of May and be there for the first race. And so that will be really cool to kind of see it all in action. But to kind of wind down here, I know we could keep you on here all day and we could go back and forth. It's so interesting. But yeah, so just kind of fun here. So it's wintertime, it's December as we're getting into these cold months here. Are the horses, are they getting a lot of training right now? I know you mentioned that you guys used sleds and stuff with snow. What is the winter mode for you guys? Are you already thinking about spring?
Oh yeah, probably 2 weeks after we finish racing, I got a notebook and I write down all my horses that are going to be in the lineup for next year and put different outfits together, what I think is going to work. And it's, you at the end of the summer, you're like, man, it's been a long summer. It's good to be done. And then 2 weeks later, you're ready to go back again. But all my horses are out on pasture now, but my good ones I don't usually drive them in the winter, but I drive all my 2, 3, 4-year-olds all winter long. Like it was minus 25 this morning when I woke up, but I think this weekend's supposed to warm up a little bit to minus 15, minus 16. So we'll drive again this weekend.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I
man.
don't like cold. It flurried a little bit 2 days ago. I was not pleased. I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
Savannah's office gets down to like 69 degrees, and she's got 2 space heaters in there.
I
Anyway.
can imagine negative
Man.
15 being a warm up. Wow.
Yeah, this winter stuff is no thanks.
How do you stay warm? How do you stay
not-
comfortable?
Just bundle up.
Yeah.
Bundle up and don't think about your toes being cold.
Oh,
Yeah.
What's the perfect amount of layers on a sub 25 degree morning?
I got a long sleeve shirt and a long underwear shirt and then a hoodie. That's what I went to work with this
Okay.
morning.
what?
So if you're acclimated, 3. If you're unacclimated, 6.
Yeah, you get used to it. This was actually a really good fall. We had a really good November. It was above seasonal temperatures. Like just this past couple of days, it got cold. So we got lucky because usually beginning of November, you get a foot of snow and minus 15. So
Oh,
Man.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, man.
all right. Oh, this is a goofy question. Okay. I think I know the answer to this, but you said you were into hockey. So between hockey and racing, which is tougher on your body?
probably racing. Hockey, they can get hit or fall, and usually one piece hurts. But you're out driving a wagon, you go across the field, and you hit one bump, and every bone in the body seems to feel that one.
I thought you were going to say that. Yeah.
That's not what I would have guessed. Which
Really?
I've only seen hockey on social media, and I found out that Kansas City has a hockey team, so I impulsively bought tickets on the glass for myself and an unknown person. So
There you go.
well, from all the videos, it looks insane. You guys get slammed into walls, and there's fist fights, and people sometimes breaking clubs over another person. These might be outliers, but I would have thought that hockey would be a little rougher.
Yeah, hockey
Racing.
you're expecting though. Wagon racing, my dad always teased me that I got more wrecks before I was old enough to drive than I have been since I started driving. But when it happens quick. And you don't get time to think about you don't get time to think about that guy that's gonna come over and hit you.
Wow. Okay.
All right. So bring it home, Savannah.
The best question, because it's Christmas themed. If you could ask Santa Claus one thing, for one thing, what would it be?
Oh, probably another lead horse. You can never have too many good lead horses.
That's a solid answer.
That's awesome.
I
man.
like it.
I mean, I'm sure Santa Claus gets a lot of questions that kids asking him for ponies. So, I mean,
Yeah.
You
It's
just
not
need
that-
to
it's not that
get him
odd.
to lend you a reindeer. See
Oh.
if the flying start would help give us
Mm-hmm.
an advantage.
right?
Yeah, it would be nice, but I don't know if the rest of my horses would really like him.
All right. Well, Riley, we really appreciate you taking the time. Thanks for jumping on the podcast here. Before we let you go, tell all of our viewers who are going to be able to see Canadian wagon racing from the EPCCA on the Chuckwagon Channel in 2026. Tell them the teams that they need to be watching for that you will be driving in 2026.
I'll be driving my own wagon, and they got Assiniboine Trailer Sales, and then I'll be driving my sister's wagon, unless she comes out of retirement, which she might. I don't know. I might get kicked out yet. It's hard to say, but hers is a Lone Star welding wagon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be watching out for you guys. And if we don't talk to you again before we see or get up there, good luck, man. And good luck here in the winter getting all of your stock set up to how you want it to be in 2026. We really appreciate you, and we're really excited to host some of you guys' races on the Chuckwagon Channel. So thank you again.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. All
It
right.
was
Take
nice
care.
to meet you.
You too.
Happy holidays.
You too.
That was cool.
So
Yeah, that was a
hockey
good
and
interview.
racing. What a combo.
Yeah, he's definitely one of those guys that we could probably go deeper and deeper and deeper on all the finite details of what he does, what they do at the EPCCA. I mean, we try to cram this stuff into an hour, and how interesting. That right there gets me excited for the next time we have another Canadian racing guest on the show, because there's just so many more questions that I want to have answered. Key takeaways, hot takes, anything like that from that interview?
I feel like it's going to be really hard to compare which set of racing, United States versus Canadian, is tougher when it comes to your skills required, or just in how the events operate themselves. On the Canadian side, you have all these additional rules that you have to be really mindful of and be aware of. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it just looks to me like, I look at how developed the Canadian racing is, and you just think, hey, 40 years in with Arkansas Chuckwagon racing, what does that look like in another 60 years? What kind of things are going to happen in the next 10 years that are going to change the sport? Because those things, the changes are inevitable. They will come. And it just makes me think that there is a lot that can be learned by looking at what they've done up there. But they are, in essence, very different sports, especially when you look at the rules and the criteria. You're not just running wagons. And both Arkansas racing and Canadian racing, both of those different sports can be looked at and be lumped into the same thing for somebody that doesn't know. But man, as soon as you start looking at the rules, it really makes it more interesting. And I don't know if you've ever, in America, I know a lot of us grew up with baseball, but if you ever have talked to somebody that doesn't understand baseball, it's kind of funny because it seems so simple, but there's actually so much going on that it's not interesting at all. It's the most boring thing in the world until you start to understand all the rules and the little things about baseball or football or you name it. Mm-hmm. Which goes back to Abbott and Costello's Who's on First routine. Go look that up on YouTube. As a matter of fact, look it up. My mom did that as a ventriloquist in Branson for years and years and years. And she did it with her two puppets, but it's literally just trying to explain the rules of something as simple as baseball, and how funny that can sound whenever you're trying to explain and switch a few things around. But no, I'm really, really excited to keep learning about their sport. And I know going and watching it, it's going to be fascinating in person to actually see it. Because they're running around a track too, which for us, the track is different at every single place. The shape is slightly different, and so the animals probably respond differently too in Arkansas wagon racing, because they're going around one barrel to the left and they're running to the left the whole time. And they don't really always know where the finish line is either. So I'm going to guess that there's a lot more of the, kind of that repetition and the conditioning that goes into what they do. But man, it's intriguing.
Yeah, one of the takeaways that I had on this was just the thought of having to judge that. So here it's with what we do, it's did X, Y, or Z fall out of the wagon? No. Okay, qualified time. Right. Now we're down to what the stopwatch said. There it's did he cross this line? Did he knock the barrel? Did this happen? Was there hazing involved? Did they haze? Any of this stuff, what all happened? And then now it becomes a math problem. Now you're adding up all this stuff at the end of it. So it's just, to me, it's as soon as he started talking about all that, I was like, oh, wow. Just thinking of that from a judge's or a timer or whatever that person's title is, whatever you call that, their perspective. I was like, man, that is a whole lot more complicated than what we deal with. I would think it would be.
No, I agree. I mean, it's just so much more developed in a lot of ways. And then there's just the key differences in essence, the outrider to me, the biggest difference, and I would even say the most exciting thing to me about the Arkansas wagon racing when you're putting it side by side with like a Canadian race. I just think that the Outrider is so intriguing. I think it's so exciting. It's the race within the race.
Mhm.
It's dangerous. frankly, it's dangerous.
I love watching the handoffs too.
Yeah, but
And that's just something
like
the
Stove,
Canadians don't have,
it's
don't have
different.
access to.
But even in like the worlds where, they do have Outriders and they have two, they have to be within 100 feet behind the wagon. And so that's something that has had to change out of necessity for safety and stuff over the years, which again, you talk about development and you have to wonder, what is the future of the Outrider for us if we're going to continue to develop and develop safety? How will that be impacted? Will it be impacted? Or will we always, is that going to be something that's going to never change or be a staple? I personally, like I'm saying, my favorite thing is the Outrider. Like I
hope it's a staple.
I hope it stays the same, but it does
don't know.
beg the question. You just never know.
No, it might go the way of the firecracker. Who knows?
Oh,
Yeah.
don't say that. Knock on some
Yeah.
wood, someone. Pretty please. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep. But man, how fun is that to kind of introduce everybody to Riley Braaten and more Canadian racing etiquette and information. We're going to continue to learn as we go along. So before we get off of here, next week we are going to have our Whiskey Ridge friends on the show, so don't miss that. Keep in mind that December 13th, coming up, there will be an ACWRA open board meeting. Then that will be all the action until you get on the other side of the holidays. January 10th, there will be another open board meeting. Go to the ACWRA Facebook page if you want to see more. Those are both held in Benton, Arkansas. And I know that it came out in the last couple of days that at the awards banquet, they're all that money that they've raised for the youth, $14,000+ in awards and prizes for these youth. It's going to be absolutely outstanding. Don't miss the January awards. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's on the 24th of January at the Arkansas Waterfowl Association. Not going to be in Benton where it's been in the past, so make sure you do your research there. But we're excited for it. Thank you, everybody, again for being here for the show. If you made it this far, we're going to remind you one more time. The clock is running out on the best deal that we've ever had, may ever have, for the Chuckwagon Channel, $59 per year. You can get that through December 4th, end of today. We hope you'll go and do it or get somebody else set up before the holidays. So, again, thank you, and we will see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC Podcast.